Eulogy, um, which is perfectly appropriate. Before I begin, I just want to let folks know this eulogy has been endorsed by Abby. We printed out this morning, and my copy has red streaks going down it, so whatever I say here, she's okay with. So with that being said, there is a lot of things I can share about Abby today. I can share morsels of experiences and wisdom that you guys would never imagine or believe. But we're going to share some stuff today. I'm going to share some things that even when I tell you, you won't believe. So buckle up, folks. We're going to be in for a ride. So my name is Patrick Simpanich. I'm 38. I know that's me. I'm 38 years old. Abby was my wife, and we were together for 21 years. We shared much of those years building a family that for a long time was just us two. And I will always treasure those moments forever. But I've never really been good at dates, on memorizing things. That's what I rely on Abby for. She was my scheduler. I used to call her. Friends would ask me, what are you doing this weekend? I was like, I don't know, I have to check my scheduler. And I'll let you know what I'm doing and how many parties I'm going to. But there are 5 dates that stand out to me, and will continue to stand out for me. The first one is September 8th, 1980. It's my birthday. It's pretty easy to remember. Thank you. I think it's statutorily required in some areas. No, it's my birthday. But the second day is October 20th, 1980. That was the day Abigail Marie Cease was born in Long Beach, California. Yes, folks, Abigail, short A, Marie Cease. Don't worry, we'll talk about the Abby controversy later. The pastor has already alluded to it. She was born at Long Beach Naval Hospital. Yes, Long Beach used to have a naval hospital. It's actually where the Chick-fil-A is, and I do too. The Chick-fil-A and the Edwards Theater is at right now. It's off for Carson, baby. Truth be told, what I've heard about Abby as a child, she was a handful with a capital H, but she was an outright terror, I gotta tell you. I've seen videos. There's video footage of her assaulting other kids, grabbing their toys. I see the aunts and uncles nodding their head. You guys know what I'm talking about. Abby may be petite, but she was strong. She put the strong in Strong Beach. Okay. Well, that continued all the way through high school. And then in the spring of 1998, during her senior year, something miraculous happened. She met me. That takes us to our next date, May 5th, 1998. That's the day we celebrate our anniversary. Shortly after we met, Abby got her first job at a local thrift store. I saw the kindness in her heart after her very first paycheck. She didn't go buy a new pair of shoes, didn't buy a purse, or even anything for herself. She went and spent the money on her little sisters. She took them out to the movies and splurged on them. Many of y'all don't know that Abby was the pet collector. She loved animals. And at the very next paycheck, she bought 2 parakeets. And at one point, she owned 2 cockatiels, 4 parakeets, 4 hamsters, 2 rabbits, 5 chinchillas, 3 dogs, 1 snake, and a partridge in a pear tree. After every paycheck, she will continue to add to that collection. A few years later, she moved in with me and my family in West Covina. And like most immigrant families, we fit as many people into the house as we could. At one point, we actually slept in bunk beds in my parents' kitchen. Yes, bunk beds in my parents' kitchen, which Abby liked because she was closer to the food. Talk about richer or poor. God bless her, we weren't even married yet. So we eventually did get married in the fall of 2008 and started having the time of our lives. We moved to Whittier and started the Whittier Real World. And for those who were part of that show, it wasn't a real show, but we had the most amazing Halloween parties. We had the most amazing pool parties. We never got shut down. Never. We would bribe our neighbors with Starbucks gift baskets so that they wouldn't call the cops. Thank you, Starbucks. We thought we could never be happier. Let me take a moment now and actually just kind of elaborate on what the pastor said about, thank you. The Avi and Abby saga, okay, the story behind it, right? There's a few of you in here who know Abigail, right? And by the way, she hated Abigail. She did not like the Gail part. She tried to actually change the Gail part when we got married and like legally change it, and like, no, you have to go through some court process, and she really didn't. She really didn't really embrace that name, or at least that Gail part. But for the better part of 20 years, folks knew her as Abby. So like in their heads, it's Abby. But sometime in circa 2009, 2008, we started hearing Avi. And our friends who were calling her Abby were like, who is this Avi person? Who is this? And we threw a birthday party for a surprise birthday party for her. And then when we got to the point where we said, happy birthday to Avi, it was like an Avi and It was Avi and Abby. And people were like, what is going on? There were two sides. And as the pastor said, she now claims that it's Avi because of her dad who was in the Navy. For that, I respectively try to call her Avi, but oftentimes I fumble through and I call her Abby. And quite frankly, she was so tied to Avi that when we were about to get married, she asked her maid of honor. When the priest was asking, what would you like me to call you? And she looked to her maid of honor, Ashley, and said, what should I say, Avi or Abby? She said, oh my gosh. And Ashley said, what did that mean, you ask? This is Abby. So the priest said Abby. So that's the saga. So call her what you will, Abby or Avi, she'll all respond. So back to our married life. We were so happy being married, and then it finally happened. Abby's most beautiful dream came true. She got pregnant. Abby had always wanted to be a mom. She loved being pregnant. She loved being able to carry a being inside of her. And we were so happy when we found out that she was pregnant that we planned an announcement party. And 2 days before the announcement party, at a routine checkup. Okay. Oh, not yet, you'll wait. She went to a routine checkup, and the baby's heart stopped. No, that was not you. Abby would miscarry. We felt heartbroken. We didn't know how we'd survive. So for the next few weeks, we drank too much. We partied way too hard. And I remember we partied so hard that Abby just wasn't feeling well. So we went to the doctor to get her checked up. And I remember just like it was yesterday. The doctor walks in, starts reading his chart. He goes, everything's looking good. You're about 6 weeks pregnant. I was like, whoa, hey. What do you mean she's pregnant? And I said, you got to be kidding me. We looked at each other, and she was pregnant. So the first thing I thought was, oh my God, I had so much drink last night. I should not have went to that. I should not have taken that last shot. But you can see this beautiful angel here is next to us. I know. Okay. And that fourth date that now stands out to me is January 29th, 2014. And it's her birthday. Just like that, we're a family. And as I said before, she loved every minute of having little Aries grow inside of her. She was beaming 24/7. She was a wonderful pregnant person. If she had weird cravings, she wouldn't tell me about them. She never complained about her feet swelling up. She just loved being pregnant. At the same time Abby found out she was pregnant, we found she had a condition, a disease. The doctors termed it nephrotic syndrome, which is basically a kidney disorder. I looked up last night, it's about 200,000 people a year in the US get diagnosed with this. And she would later be diagnosed with lupus, but this is an autoimmune disease where your body's basically attacking itself. The disease did lay dormant while Abby was pregnant. Doctors say this happens sometime. In the cases where there's an autoimmune disease, the immune system is suppressed. So while she's pregnant, her disease is basically in remission, and it stays that way. And it knows not to attack the fetus. It knows not to attack what they think is a foreign organ or a foreign body being inside. But after she gave birth, that disease flared, and it flared viciously. And it tested her ability to be not only a mom, but to just be a person. We spent the next 5 years both being a family and fighting this disease. She eventually would land her dream job, which combined her two other loves, Starbucks and Disney. And the secret is, Disney and Starbucks, she probably would have done it for free. Folks don't know this, but she plotted and planned to work her way to Disney, to get her way into Disney. She would tell me, babe, you watch. I'm gonna get into downtown Disney, Starbucks. I'm gonna become a cast member. and then I'll be able to go to Disneyland whenever I want to. We'll see. She said Disney Starbucks was the hardest store she ever worked at. And that says a lot from a person who was a hard worker. But she loved every minute of it. She loved Disney so much. Looking for her iPad. But, you know, for folks that don't know, for someone who wanted to be a part of Disney so bad, she found out there were limitations on employee passes. She said, what? There are employee blackout dates? Oh no. So she became a pass holder. So she not only worked for Starbucks, but she also was an annual pass holder because she wanted to dictate when she can go to Disneyland on her terms. So for the last 5 years, you know, I talked to people, and people who've known her for 15, 20 years don't know Abby as a sick person. They never known her as someone who is chronically ill. But those who've known her, who just met her within the past 5 years, they told me that we know Abby's sick. We know she has a condition. And it's really foreign for someone to kind of appreciate now that that's part of that person's narrative, that's their story, that they're a sick person. So we struggle finding out that, we struggle with the fact of saying and believing that Abby was sick. Because she had lupus. She didn't have cancer. She didn't have any other form of terminal disease, like lupus. You know? But the totality of what her body went through was vicious. I would see it day in and day out. Which leads us to the fifth date, the final date, March 28, 2019. A day I'll never forget. I didn't think it was going to kill her. I didn't think she would die. Did not imagine she would die. Yeah, she has a kidney problem. Yeah, she's taking medication. But didn't think it would take her life. So on March 28, 2019, her heart finally surrendered to the onslaught. It was too weak to continue. Many of you wonder why Abby was so sick. Many of you may tell yourself, she never looked sick. She never acted sick. But I can tell you, Abby's body betrayed her. And eventually could not go on. And she was not herself. The last 30 days, she didn't sleep in her bed. She slept on the couch. She would wake up, her body swelling with fluid. By the last day, she was taking 22 pills a day. 22 pills a day. She would be poked and prodded by nurses. Tests were run by doctors. New medications we were trying. Medications that would help the actual disease, and then medications to help with the side effects of that other medication. More visits, more ER visits, more hospitalizations. And it dawned on me that I was a sick person. She was ill. One thing I gotta tell you though, Abby was an awesome patient. I know we got a lot of nurses here. Sure we do. You would have loved her to be your patient. On her last night, she asked her nurse how she was doing, if she was hungry, and even offered for me and Ray to go buy her food. Buy you food? What's going on? On the last night, the last few hours of her death, the ICU nurses had never seen so many people show up to the hospital. It was flooded with people within hours of hearing of Abby's condition had worsened. The nurses came up to me and said, are they all with you? I said, yes, they are. And they opened the doors. Now, before I conclude, I want to give a few specific shout-outs. To the Long Beach homies, Abby will always be a Long Beach girl, through and through. Her life was Long Beach. To the Westco crew, thank you so much for loving her. Thank you so much for embracing her and making her part of our family. With your Werewolf crew, thank you for turning our home into a reality TV show. Wouldn't have changed it for the world. And I hope someone had filmed it so we can go back and watch all the reruns. Starbucks family, Starbucks was her life. If I look back and look at the single most impactful thing Abby done to create the universe she has today, that was being employed by Starbucks. Starbucks creates this network and vast connection with folks that you could never imagine. Thank you for creating her universe. And the Disney family, although she had many employers, when she finally got to Disneyland, that was her home. It was appropriate for her to be the happiest person, the happiest barista, to be at the happiest place on earth. To entire C's family, which includes Chicago and Rialto, she loved you all your craziness, your weirdness, your foibles, your inequities. You know, people don't know this about me, but I would have been fine just being in West Covina with my 25 friends, 20 friends, my 8 family members. You know, at our wedding, we couldn't fill up a whole table for my family. 90% of it was Cease's. But thank you. But thank you for giving me and showing me what a huge, large, clumsy, fumbling, bumbling, lovable, and precious family could look like. To the Sampanich family, thank you for loving her, for making her another daughter, and she will always be your Tolek. And subtitle is, that means little one in Thai. Reina, she's your biggest fan. She would show me endless videos of you when you were 3 or 4, doing songs and dances, and she would direct you guys. It's like, okay, another video, I'll watch. Beautiful boyfriend. Hours and hours of video. She wanted so badly to get a little Reina as her own, and she got it. Aries is a little performer. I know. And finally, to Mama and Papa Cease. She learned so much from you both. You gave her something that I saw day in and day out. Mr. C, she was your daughter that you raised. She had all your idiosyncrasies. She always remembered to put things back in the same place where they belong. She always would make sure the stove was turned off and doors were locked. She was so paranoid that the doors weren't locked that she had to install a camera so she could see her garage door always being closed. Mama Cece taught her the most precious lesson of all, to be a wonderful mom. To offer yourself day in and day out, selflessly, understanding and making sure your children were taken care of. She would tell me all the time, if I could be a fraction of what my mom does, a fraction, I would consider my being a mom a success. And she learned how to cook a mean spam fried rice. Thank you. Abby had her youthful indiscretions, but she worked hard at being a better person and aimed to be that person she always wanted to be. She wanted to create a universe that was kinder, gentler, sweeter, and more generous. Because of that, she always strived to be a better person. I encourage you to do the same in her memory. And it's easy to say at funerals, be kinder, be gentler for people, hug your fellow man. But she lived that life, day in and day out, and it was exhausting. We would be at fast food places, and she was like, honey, I need to go tell the manager. I was like, what? What happened? She's like, I need to go tell them how good their employees were. Okay. How many times that the girl's Disney trips got cut short a bit because she had to go to the Disneyland City Hall to tell that Sarah, who manned the Space Mountain ride, did such an awesome job. My wife lived each day serving others. And it was so hard to be exhaustively nice. It's so hard to be nice. Abby would go to parties she was invited to. I would kid around and say that she was my scheduler, but she would meet people at random places. Like the local car wash guy, went to his party, didn't know a single soul there. Went to a dry cleaner's party. This person. But I let her fly. I let my angel fly. And I was happy for her to carry me wherever she wanted to. I did get free dry cleaning for 3 years though, which is great. But I think Raina alluded to it earlier, Abby was terrified of people not showing to her events. She would tell me, honey, I have to go to these 4 birthday parties because Aries is gonna have her birthday party in 9 months. If I don't go, they may not show up. I was like, what? They don't show up, they might not show up. So today, as you look around, you see wall-to-wall people, standing room only. I try to find the biggest place I could, guys. But I'm competing with, it's wedding season. But this is the universe she created. And all those parties, those random events, they paid off. Because look at you all here today. You all had to be here today. And I've heard people say, Abby made me feel like I was the most special person in the world. And being her husband, being able to hear people say how precious and awesome she was, and how people looked up to her, and people were inspired by her, she was my biggest fan. She looked up to me. No matter what decision I made, no matter what was troubling me, I would ask her, what should I do, babe? And whatever decision I made, she would stand by. Which got me thinking, she would stand by me so much. She really wouldn't tell me when I did something bad. Good decision, babe. Was it really a good decision? I'll be supportive of you. It was an honor to be married to her. And so it's going to be Aries and myself. But we're a team. When I look around, we're not only a team, but we're a family. And I call to arms today, Abby's armies and supporters, godparents, family from all walks of life, friends. This is not a drill. You have been activated. all your training has led up to this moment. Abby's built this universe for a reason. We are DEFCON 1, folks. So put on your gear and buckle up, because we're gonna need you. We're gonna need you. I do have to say one thing. If the totality of my wife's kindness and generosity does not get her a fast pass into heaven, none of us here have a chance. All bets are off, folks. Pack it up and go home if she doesn't get up to heaven. Because all this work is for naught. So be kind, be present, and most of all, be the difference you want to see in the world. She created her universe. And not just for your fellow man or your brother or sister or stranger, but in honor of Abby. And please, please come to the reception. We have an offensive amount of food. And we have planned to feed everybody. And thank you very much. And we appreciate all of your abundance.